What's going on, everyone? In today's BookMine Academy video, Victor Gallegos and I are going to show you an awesome new feature that Keepa just added to the sub-rank Keepa chart, which is to actually show us how many times a book has sold in the last 30 days. But before we get into that, what's going on, Victor?
Hey, Joji, what's up? Another great day to buy books. Let's do it.
Okay. All right, Victor, I'm here on a listing, Chemical Biology 11th edition. The reason why I pulled this book up, Victor, is because I know from experience that even though I can't technically sell this book, this is a book that has an amazing sales rank. And in the past, Victor, when it came to predicting like how often the book was selling, we really only had sales rank to rely on, right? So could you walk us through a little bit about like how maybe up until this point, like, you know, in the past, how would you, let's say, try to figure out like how many times a book sold? Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really difficult, right? I already knew that Keepa really didn't give you the exact number, but what you can do is see all the little green drops and kind of just estimate it. You know, the lower those green drops are, where it basically just stays almost at the floor, that book is selling a ton, maybe 10, 15 times a day. But it's hard to visualize actually how many times each, iteration actually it sold. So, you kind of just guess, probably right around there, at best guess, maybe 200 or 300 times. That's probably my best guess of there. And then maybe in November, December, maybe 50 to 100 times. But you really can't necessarily totally get an exact number because it's just an estimate that Keepa's trying to gather Amazon's data and provide what they can. And so that's what we're seeing there. And we can tell immediately this is a really popular book, and hence the reason why we both can't sell it.
Yeah, exactly. You can see how the sales rank gets so low in both January and August, which are the textbook seasons when people would need this book. But traditionally, what we've taught is that whenever you see the sales rank number drop significantly, that would mean that the book very likely sold. But the thing with sales rank drops as you get more experience is that when the sales rank does drop, let's say 111,000 to 72,000, really the only thing that you know, Victor, is that the book became more popular relative to other books in the category, which would mean that it probably did sell. But as far as how many copies sold, it's really hard to tell, and the estimate is quite hard. So what did Keepa just announce, Victor? Or just not announce? What did Keepa just start adding? But only because Amazon started giving this information. So what was just added to now some Keepa graphs to help us have a better estimate of potentially how often a book's selling?
Yeah, this is actually pretty great for everyone who does what we do, because Amazon just released an exact number of how many units a particular ASIN is selling. So that includes books. So as long as a book sells at least 100 times, Amazon will tell you, hey, this book has sold at least 100 times in the last month. And of course, it goes into increments, right? So, I think we both kind of realizing this. It's either an increment of 100, 250, 500, or 1,000, and then it goes up from there. And so it won't give you the exact, but will tell you, hey, for sure, this book has at least sold 100 times if it has this, little feature to it.
Yep. And the way that you would do that is when you're here on the Keepa graph, normally you would see two Keepa graphs. And normally you would see this top Keepa graph, which has, let's say, the sales rank, the use price, Amazon price, and so forth. We would have the bottom graph, which is the new and used offer count. But there's also a button here at the top called subranks. And if you go and click on the subranks button, now you actually will see a new metric here added on to where there used to only be subranks, but there's something called monthly sold. And I want to read this, and let's actually highlight that bottom part here. Monthly sold. Historical data for the bought in past month metric as shown on Amazon's search engine results pages. It is not, Victor, it is not an estimate.
It is not.
Amazon only provides the data in bracketed ranges, as you mentioned, such as 50 plus or 100 plus, rather than as exact figures. So you shouldn't think that if you see 100, it means exactly 100. But then also, like Victor and I so far, we're seeing that it looks like the brackets for books are, what do we say it was? It's going to be
100, 250, 500, and then 1,000.
Right. Yeah. And my understanding there, Victor, is that in order to get to 100, it has to actually have sold at least 100 times.
100 times.
In the last 30 days, right?
Right.
Last 30 days.
So how does it get 99? It wouldn't be, right?
Yeah. Right. And then if it gets to, let's say, 248, it's not going to show 250. It has to actually get to 250 to show the next 250. So
that's right.
We're going to play a little game here because I think it's really fun to try to estimate how often books are selling. And so what Victor and I did is we each both found two books that are quite popular, that we both know are probably selling a ton. And these first two books I'm going to share with you guys, I want Victor to guess how many times he thinks this book is selling in the last 30 days. And Amazon's going to give us that data within a bracketed range, and we're going to see how close he is. So let's go ahead and take a look. So one thing I want to tell you is that I'll give you a little hint here, Victor. It's actually going to show you 2 ranges here. Okay, it's going to show you a range for, this 30-day range here.
Okay.
And then this 30-day range here. So let's start off with how many sales between, let's say, March 1st and May 1st are you guesstimating here?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we're doing this, I'm guessing that it at least has that range right there, right? Because that's when it just started tracking it. So I'm going to guess 100 there. I'm going to guess 100 sales happened during that period. And sometime during, say, May 16th and on, somewhere around there, we finally we hit it on an overdrive, and probably we're now at 250.
All
right. So that's my guess. And remember, we both do this as our actual jobs, right? With it, I've been doing this for 6 years, so I hope I'm doing at least kind of close. I could be just totally off, and it could show you that why this extra graph actually matters.
All right, here we go. So we're going to go and click the monthly sold button, and Victor is absolutely right. So notice that this shows that 100 monthly sold, and again, this is going to represent the previous 30-day period, which would be essentially this period of time here. When the sales rank is higher. You can actually see on average the sales rank is probably around like 60-ish thousand. It's obviously a little bit higher and lower as the sales rank goes up and down. But then in here, it gets into the 20,000s. And look at this, Victor. Boom, we got up to over 250 sales. So remember, to go from 100 to 250, you need to have crossed over 250 sales to get there. So why that's so important is notice that the sales rank here, Victor, is vastly different than the sales rank right here. So I'm going to bet that that's going to be in the 500 range, maybe even into 1,000 range, which is
even to the 1,000.
Kind of crazy, right?
Right.
Yeah,
awesome. That's pretty cool.
Now, here's an awesome replan book here.
Actually, this is fun. I didn't know we were going to do. Okay.
Signing Naturally, Student Workbook, Units 1 through 6. This is a book that, Victor, anyone who's able to look at data, pattern recognition can see every year. This book does amazing for the both 2 seasons. You've got yourself August, September here. You've also got yourself January, February. So again, what we're going to be doing is looking at this book, let's say over the last, couple months here. So I'm assuming same thing. You've got this sort of range there, and then you've got this sort of range here. Definitely the sales rank is lower here, I think, into like the 8,000s to 10,000s. So I don't know.
So what are we on, like, say, June 10th? Right? The last, week?
Yeah, don't look at that real quick.
Well, I'm not looking at it. I didn't look like that.
We're on June 10th right now. And so
the sales rank is around 10,000. June 10th. I'm looking at June 10th's sales rank.
Yeah, 8,000.
8,000. Oh, so that's really great. And so we were like 8 to maybe 10, 15,000. All right. So kind of the same thing. I think we were probably at 100, and we're definitely at 250. I'm thinking we're probably at 250, at least at some point. I think we're at 250. We're probably going to get to 500 pretty quickly because of the 8,000 rank. So I'm guessing 250. Why not? I think probably 250 straight on.
Okay. Let's try it out. So click monthly sold. And there we go. Same thing. We had 100 in the monthly report. So again, that's going to be this sort of range up here. The sales rank is a little bit higher. And then as it got lower in this range here, we go up to 250. So remember, in order for 250 to be shown, you actually have to cross 250 sales. So even if you had 249 sales, you're still technically to be at this 100 mark here.
And so this is also important because 250 can actually go all the way to 499. So it doesn't mean that we're just at 250. It could actually go all the way to 499 before it'll go up again. So this book's actually selling quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can also see the sales rank was at 8,000 in August, September of last year. It got down to under 1,000. Wow. So if I were to guess, it's probably going to get to 500, maybe even 1,000. I don't know. We'll see. The reason why this is so cool, though, Victor, is you actually have more than just a best guess. Beforehand, you just say, it's probably selling a couple hundred times. And actually, you're probably close to right. Like, it probably is selling a couple hundred times. But this is a more definitive answer, and it's not a guess. It's actually, it even says it's not an estimate. Amazon only provides the data in bracketed ranges rather than the exact figures, but they give you that bracketed range. So with that said, Victor is now going to see if he can, not trick me. He's going to actually test my capability. Yeah. Victor's right on, so hopefully I don't embarrass myself.
Well, I mean, close enough.
Yeah.
All right, Joji. We are on my screen, and we got another book over here. This is a high school book that is a killer book, right? It's selling a ton, especially during textbook season, and you can see we're about to get into textbook season now. So with this book, where do you kind of see where we're at right now? Let's go ahead and move to some of the actual sales ranks. We're down to like 6,000, 5,000 in the last couple of days. It is 7,000. And say before that, we were in 79,000. So we're at 79,000, but it just recently dipped. I think also something that was also cool before we had this data, we'd also have to look at the stats. So you can look at how many drops happen. It's 71 drops in the last on average every month. So that's another kind of fact you can throw in. So what do you think this book is at?
I had the privilege of seeing you walk through this the first time and also looking at 2 examples already, seeing what the ranks are. So if I were to just use historical evidence, which is what the 2 books we just looked at, I'm assuming a sort of similar pattern is probably going to be at least 100 in the let's say 2 months ago. And then in the last 30 days, I would say at least 250. I don't think at a sales rank of 5,000, it's going to get up to 500 yet, but I could be wrong. But let's see how it did.
All right, let's check it out. All right. So 100 to 250, now to 500.
500. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because this has actually been a little bit longer than the book you actually showed me. So just slightly longer. Now we're at 500, which should show you that this little dip right here in the sales rank really means a lot. It's selling quite a bit.
That's crazy. What's even crazier to me is how it can go from 250 to 500, right? And if you look at the offer count's like not changing much at all. So it tells you that when you see massive changes in the offer count, like go back to last September there, Victor, when you see massive changes in the offer count over a short period of time, that is going to be tons and tons of units, right? Because, if you look at the offer count at the...
right there. Yeah.
So we go from an offer count of, what is it, like 90?
94 down to like 20. 21. Yeah.
Right. Versus if you go back to today now, where it went from 250 sales to 500 sales in a month, and we're actually almost like going up. So it just shows you how with these super popular books that have tons of offer count, that you can still have tons of volume sell even without seeing much of a change in offer count. Just kind of crazy.
All right, so we got one more book, and then we'll call it a day. So let's click on.
I'm going to say Victor already won this. He was 2 for 2. I'm ready 0 for 1.
Oh, you were close enough. All right, so this is an AC book. I'm kind of addicted to it. I love talking about it. It's a very popular book, especially during the summer. You can see it sells really well during August and September, the hottest months, right? And, this is a book that doesn't necessarily drop kind of really crazy down to the floor, right? But what do you think a book like this is selling per month? So basically this month is also kind of repeating the last one. So you can kind of guess that it would probably continue that.
So what is like the upper and lower bound? Looks like the lower bound.
So it looks like we're at 40s up to 40 to 50. I'd say the range is like 40 to 50 is that kind of zone there.
40 to 50,000.
40 to 50,000 sales range.
Okay. I would say
68.
From what I'm seeing, I'm thinking that at a 40 or 50,000 sales range, it's definitely got to be about 100. I'm thinking that it's probably just going to stay at 100.
Stay at 100. Okay.
Yeah, that's my guess. I don't think it's going to quite. So again, it could be more than 100, but I think it's less than 250. So I think it's going to be 100. That's
right. Okay. And you're right.
Let's go.
And I think also what's really good here to point out is that if this monthly sold isn't there, that means that this book hasn't sold at least 100 times. So if you go and click on this sub rank and nothing is there, that just means that the book hasn't sold at least 100 times. So
absolutely.
There you go. All right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. We really hope you guys enjoyed that BookMine Academy video. We actually have new data to help us better estimate. It's not even necessarily an estimate, but to help us better understand how often some of these books are selling. It's also, good to understand that, a lot of books don't sell 100 times in a month. And you now know that, this book factually doesn't sell 100 times in a month because Amazon has told you that it hasn't sold 100 times in a month. Remember that Keepa always is scraping data from Amazon, right? The data that Amazon has is king, and any data that Amazon shares is going to be 100% valid versus Keepa just scraping data off of users using their Chrome extension. So we hope this video was helpful. Any last words before we leave here, Victor?
Oh, no, I just think that's a great extra resource. In a few months from now, it'll get even better because the textbook seasons actually will start happening and we'll be able to see actually how many times our books are selling. So I think it's great.
Awesome. Make sure you guys check out the next BookMine Academy video, and we'll see you guys next one.
Yeah, thanks.